Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your June 2018 general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today and welcome to any newcomers. Thank you for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and your support, feedback, and comment. It is always welcome and appreciated. Thank you so much. And of course, always a big thank you to all of my clients out there, regular and new, for continuing to keep me so very busy with personal one-on-one readings. And as many of you know, if you are interested in getting a personal one-on-one reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more information and my contact details either by clicking on the description bar of all the videos I post or going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on the little About button. Turnaround time for personal readings is pretty fast because I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do, and we can usually set up a reading for you live or recorded within a couple of weeks period of time, sometimes a little sooner, but almost always within a 2-week period of time. So please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I can usually get back to you within the first day or the first 24 hours of your initial contact with more information. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy for quick answers to the fast, easy questions. And for the traditional personal readings, I do love and romance, of course. I do career work and finance readings, investment readings. I do 6 and 12-month overviews, which look at what's coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far out you want to look. Relationship compatibility chartings for all kinds of relationships, reconciliation spreads, channeled messages from passed on loved ones, and also gift readings if you want to gift someone with a personal reading as a present. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. So moving right into this reading is for excuse me, the Earth sign of Capricorn for the month of June 2018. Let's see what's in store for Capricorns for June 2018. Make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well for additional clarification, because details and timing can always vary with general readings. All right, Capricorn, we begin with the 9 of Swords, followed by the 7 of Cups. We have the Knight of Swords, followed by the World, the Emperor, followed by Strength, and the 6 of Swords, followed by the Fool. And from the bottom of the deck, your crowning energy representing overall guidance, focus for the month is the Chariot. Powerful reading like all of the signs I've done so far. A lot of major arcana cards. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards out of 9, so potentially quite a significant month for you, Capricorn. And like, again, most of the signs, it looks like the challenges are showing up more in the first part of the month, and the last part of the month is very powerful in transitioning into new beginnings. Let me take another look here. So Capricorn, your overall energy and focus and advice for the month of June 2018 is the Chariot, major arcana card. This is a card of success, but success that comes from really being focused on your goals, being practical and focused about your goals, and it's success that comes through perseverance, determination, not allowing anything to deter you from what you're working on creating and manifesting, pulling together all the resources you need, and then moving forward in a swift and powerful way to achieve success. It's like success that comes from an absolute refusal to give up until you reach your goals, and staying goal focused and oriented, and really staying on top of things too. So that's your key advice for the month of June. And it's echoed a little further on with the Emperor and the Strength too, which is all about staying, you know, kind of focused, structured, staying on top of details, self-discipline and perseverance in facing your fears, your doubts and insecurities. Because it looks like in the beginning of the month, you're really stressed out about a lot of potential what could, what might happen, what might not happen. We have the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups. I never really like seeing the Nine of Swords because it represents a pretty high degree of anxiety, fear, doubt, worry. Tens represent completion, so nines represent a pretty high degree of this. She's staying up late at night. You can see the moon has risen high in the sky, which implies that it's a time when everybody else is asleep, but she's not. She's sitting kind of up in bed, hunched over in a protective defensive gesture, because she's really worried about something, and all of her thoughts and her emotions are focused on the source of that stress and worry. It's a card which often shows up when you've built something up in your head to be bigger and worse than the reality of the actual situation calls for, and it's often a card I see come up when people are worried about the future, what might happen in the future, what might not happen in the future, what they might do. When in reality you can only deal with what's in front of you and let go of the rest, because you can't deal with a future that hasn't even been written yet. So this is worrying unnecessarily. It could be that, whatever the source or sources of your worry, anxiety, and concern might be valid, but this is a card of overthinking it way too much to the point where it's causing you a lot of stress and anxiety, maybe interfering with your sleep in your day-to-day life. And it's clarified and accompanied by the Seven of Cups. Cups is emotional energy. The Seven of Cups is a card about multiple options and opportunities, which it could be you may be stressing about that, but it also can be a card of not being as practical or grounded as you need to be. Fantasy, distraction, illusion. Each of these Seven Cups is filled with something beautiful, almost impossibly beautiful and perfect. Each of these represents potential. And I sometimes, when I look at this card, think about, the young person sometimes that wants to be an astronaut one week and wants to be a doctor the next, a ballerina the next. Each one of these goals is hypothetically achievable and reachable, but it's all about kind of focusing on one, being practical and realistic and focused on what your goal is, and then setting the steps you need to accomplish that goal and working for it in a very powerful way, and not letting anything get in your way. And that's going to actually help you overcome any anxiety, worries, and fears you have about, maybe your thoughts are all over the place, and what if this happens, and what if this doesn't happen, and it's just really worrying about stuff which hasn't even come into being yet. Remember that overall advice and energy is the Chariot. This is about being practical about what you want and can create and manifest right now, and setting the steps to doing that, and then moving and not stopping until you achieve that. And that action and that way that you accomplish that and are very ordered and self-disciplined, and you persevere and are determined about it, can lessen and even negate this energy of being so stressed out because your thoughts are all over the place and considering what may or may not happen in the future and how you can somehow, stop it. So, pull back that energy, be realistic and focused, and that's how you're going to achieve success in the month of June. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that you need to do about details too. Some of you may be traveling. We have the World and the Six of Swords here, which can represent traveling. Again, I've gotten that for a number of signs: moving, relocating, or traveling. And I feel like there may be a lot of physical, practical details for you to kind of stay on top of. Just be ordered, make your lists, be realistic about it, focus on that, and don't allow what may or may not be or isn't even present yet to kind of interfere with that. The Knight of Swords and the World is next. Swords is that air energy. It's all about what we think and our belief systems, truth, illumination, honesty, clarity. Knights often represent offers or opportunities, something being brought to you, and this would be news, information, messages. I feel like it's sometimes called the inconvenient truth card too, because sometimes it brings us news or information which reveals something. Because it's so focused on the truth and clarity, sometimes it can feel a little emotionally distant or reserved. And I'm feeling like I'm getting hard truth in my head for some reason. I feel like a lot of you have learned, with some kind of turbulence or chaos or conflict or disruption recently, you've learned maybe some hard truths about yourself, even in situations where there was conflicts with other people. Everybody always has their part to play, and I feel like you've been brave enough, Capricorn, that you kind of owned whatever your part is in any conflicts or challenges in your life, and you've learned some hard truths is what I'm getting about that, and it's helping you achieve a sense of completion and a real major part of your life, a real major chapter of your life closing, which needs to close because it's clarified by the World, which is a card of completion, major completion, because it's the last card in the tarot. The first major arcana card in the tarot is the Fool, which we have 2 at the end, and he has the 0 at the top of his card. Everything after that is about the Fool's journey through life, which is our journey through life, and all the trials and tribulations and the lessons and how we grow and learn and evolve and change until we get to the end at the world and we achieve completion. A major portion of your life, a major chapter of your life is coming to an end, a completion, and it needs to. I think there's been some hard truths, some truths revealed, and some understanding and awareness, and maybe some epiphanies for you lately, Capricorn, and you've been brave enough to kind of look at those and embrace those, and it's helping you leave something behind which is no longer serving you. And next we have that combination I touched on briefly, the Emperor and Strength. Powerful combination of cards. The Emperor is how you achieve the Chariot as well. It's another underscoring of that message. This is about structure, discipline, routine, staying on top of things, being detail-oriented, measured, contemplative. This is not allowing your emotions to run you all over the place or distract you, because the Emperor doesn't. He has an empire to run, a whole collection of kingdoms, and in order to do that, he has to be very measured, thoughtful, understand that every action and decision, every action he takes and every decision he makes affects a wide variety of people. So he's very careful in what he does, and he's good at delegating. He stays on top of everything, because running an empire is a big job. It requires a lot of wisdom, insight, compassion, truth, patience, and illumination. It requires a lot of things. And the Emperor is the paternal, ultimate father figure of the tarot, the ultimate paternal energy of the tarot. It can represent a father or father figure, or someone in your life of some position and of status and authority, even a partner who may be manifesting that way. And he may also be helping you. It may be somebody who's showing up in your life that's helping you achieve these things, or modeling by example as well. And it's accompanied and clarified by Strength. Strength is about facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, your demons, wrestling with them, making the changes you need to, walking into those fears, because it takes a great deal of strength and courage and humility to do that, but it's also what you gain more of by doing that and coming through the other side. She has faced whatever fears and doubts and insecurities she have, and by facing them with the Strength card, I don't mean facing them in the way that the Nine of Swords represents. This is like just sitting in them and dwelling with them and not really taking action or being realistic about them, so that you can face them and deal with them and move on. That's what the Strength card represents. She has tamed this lion, this wild beast, which is representative of fears, doubts, insecurities, maybe negative choice or behavior patterns. And she has made the changes. She has self-embraced everything that's left, and now she is striding forward courageously into the future, her head up, in motion, the flow of her dress, her hair. She is going forward. She is in motion. Beautiful, beautiful energy. And then at or towards the end of June 2018, Capricorn, we have another great combination of cards. All the signs so far had like the challenges are more focused on in the first part of the month, and then at the end of it's like there's this huge learning curve, evolutionary period. We take what we've learned and we move on powerfully, and at the end of the month everybody's like off and running. Lots of healing, peace, restoration at the end of the month. Can also represent literal travel or literal moves. Some of you are doing that as well. It's transitional energy, meaning you've left the worst behind. The chaotic, choppy waters are behind you. The waters you're moving into are more smooth and placid, serene, harmonious. You're not quite to the other side yet and on solid ground, but you are definitely moving through that and towards that. The healing process is like any other healing process, physical or emotional. Initially, it has its ups and downs days, but it's overall generally a move towards getting to solid ground and being on solid ground, peace, restoration, healing. And I think for a fair amount of you, it also involves physical movement and travel as well at the end of June. It's clarified and accompanied by the Fool, which is beautiful. Here we have the Fool starting over again, a brand new journey. You went through the completion, the world. You tackled those hard truths. You embraced them. You faced your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. You got focused, practical, started moving forward right into this healing energy. And the Fool is all about the potential and promise of a brand new journey, stepping off the beaten path, starting over again with joy and almost a childlike faith and abandon. Not to the opposite extreme, of course, as I'm fond of saying, we want to make sure there's water in the pool before we jump. But the Fool is all about what could be. I'm going to step off this beaten path. I'm going to, you know, extraordinary results come from extraordinary efforts. And the Fool is just all about that, starting off on a brand new journey again, healing, moving, starting off on a brand new journey, a new awakening. I feel like for a lot of you, even though it's not necessarily indicated here, whatever the nature of the conflict or pain that you've been through recently is, whether it's in work and career or the relationship area of your life, I feel like there's been some tremendous life lessons that have come, and they've come at a cost. They have been maybe kind of difficult to face and painful to face and embrace, but you, like some of the other signs, have, and it really is manifested strongly at the end of the month, because you're all moving off into healing and into beautiful new beginnings, and a lot of potential as seeds get planted for a brand new bright future moving down the road. Beautiful, beautiful reading, Capricorn. So Capricorn, that pretty much wraps up your June 2018 general reading. I hope that you have enjoyed it or found it helpful and useful to you somehow. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal one-on-one reading, you can get more contact information by clicking on the description bar of the videos I post, or going to my YouTube channel's homepage, clicking on that little About button. Please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be so happy to work with you and set up a reading with you, live or recorded, as soon as we can. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the June 2018 mid-month readings. And until then, as always, Capricorn, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.